Hey, hi, welcome back. So today we are going to look at the last leg of our containerization. So containerized RAG AI agent. Okay. Uh, so this is primarily the structure, right? So so this is my GitHub. I will share this link in the description. So I have a main folder called Docker project. Okay, Docker file project. In that, I have created two folders. Okay, one is RAG, the other one is Gradio. This has my okay. So basically, we'll have to use a .py file. Okay, it's not going to work otherwise. Okay, so you will have your .py file over here, which is your RAG file. Okay, let me just show you this. So this is our main code, which is what we saw earlier. This is our knowledge base. This is all our requirements. Okay, have a look at this. Basically, it's all your pip install and all of that. Okay, what version? Okay, all of that is actually over here. This we will come to. This is the instruction file for RAG. So I'll come to this part a little later. So Gradio also has a similar setup. So you will have your Gradio UI file. Okay, so we had to give this name instruction. So basically all your pip install is over here, and this is the Docker instruction file. Okay, so that's the basic setup. Right, so your py file, your requirements file, and the Docker file, same thing. And this is where you have your YAML, Docker Compose. Okay, so I'm not going to be touching on um, how to install Docker Desktop, how to install Ubuntu, WSL, and all of that. There are a lot of videos which will tell you how to do that. Right, so I will just take you through some of the main things so you understand. So we will look at this. This is Ubuntu where I passed on the command and what actually happened, right? And I will just show you this also, a container image. These are two. We are not using volume. Right, so I will just show you the instruction file. So coming to Docker, why Docker? Okay, so Docker actually is the production environment. So why do we use this? We looked at everything done on a local machine, and we gave a tunnel, a secure tunnel where someone else can also uh, use the URL and test the endpoints, right? Which is what we saw. In Docker, the good thing is a person once you create the image, and I'll come to that. So once you create all the necessary things, anybody can just take that component and run it in their environment. So it's a production ready. I can host it in cloud. I can host it wherever, right? Unfortunately, I think the free cloud version doesn't whatever is available. Um, it's not helpful, right? So it doesn't give the kind of infrastructure that the paid version does give. So coming to so you don't have to worry about what version of the libraries and what version of Python and all of that was installed. You just create the copy of all the application, right, which is actually the image, and I'll come to that. Once you have with the structure given, anybody can run that, and that's about it. That's the good part. You don't have to worry about what version, what this, what that was run. You just take this; it's all prepared for you. You just run it, use the appropriate command in Ubuntu, and just run the thing. So I will now take you through. So there are three parts. Okay. So the Docker instruction file is what we're looking at. So it's named as Docker file dot Gradio. You don't have to put it as Gradio. Okay. So that's just the way I have named it. Okay. So this is the file which has all the details of what is the environment, what is the directory, what is the requirements file, what is to be installed, just the basic instruction, everything, what is the execution and all of that. So once we hit a build command on this, it'll actually build and give you an image. That image is everything. That's the most powerful thing. Okay, it is basically a copy of the entire software, all the libraries and everything. Okay, but it's not in a live mode. The execution of that software is what happens in a container. Okay, so a container is where all this actually runs. So there are these three phases: the instruction file, so it's called Docker instruct, and then when you build and you have the image, it is all your software, your libraries, all of that, and then the execution of that happens in the container. So this is what Docker actually gives you. And there's also network, right? So there are containers that can talk to each other, and I've used network over here, so you will actually see that. So I will take you through the instruction file and also the Docker compose YAML where, right? So let me take you through some of the comments that I put over here. So Docker file is basically an instruction sheet that tells Docker how to build the image, and we are using I was using Python 3.12. I'm using Slim. Basically, we're saying this is the starting point, the main environment, right? Slim is basically the smaller version. So there's large and some mid version as well. So this is the work directory. So this work directory /app is created inside the container. Okay. In that container, we are saying copy this requirements and do a pip install. Okay. Also to copy this is for the Gradio. Okay. So the client/app, which is the file that we saw in my GitHub. Where was that? Right, I showed that to you all. Right. So you can have all of this structure on your laptop, or if you have something on the cloud, great, nothing like it. Yes. Okay, I'm using Notepad++. It's just an editor. Okay, just a text editor. Right, you can use anything. Right, this is very simple, very light package. Okay. Okay, so the important thing. So from this, okay, let me remove these comments so it becomes more clear. Okay, so this is the main environment. In the work directory in Docker, in the container, create this app folder, right? Over there, copy this requirements, which has a list of all the pip install, right? So here there aren't many. So here we are saying Gradio this version and request this version. That's about it. Right. So copy the actual script. Okay. And here we are say container. Please listen to this port. This 7860 is the port on my local machine. Okay. Okay. So expose this. Okay. And then you have this command. Okay. So basically this is it. That's all. I remove the comments. The first part, CMD, this is the executable and these are the parameters. So this is the executable. So you're saying execute Python and these are the argument. Argument, what is this? This is the Gradio script. Okay. So the Docker file, when you hit the build, you get the image that contains everything that your app needs, and the container is where it is actually run. And in Docker Compose, when you hit, okay, I'll take you through the other things. So when you hit Docker Compose, which is this particular file, up dash dash build is when the build happens. Okay, prepares the image, and this up command actually runs the containers. So if you just hit docker compose dash dash build, it'll prepare the image based on the instruct. So let us also look at the other Docker file. Okay, so this is for the instruction file for the RAG script. Okay, for the other API. Okay, from this is the environment. Okay, in the work directory in container, create this work directory over there, copy this, pip install this, nothing in the memory. Okay, no downloading, so just install. That's what, so that is why we say no cache dir. Then copy this and copy the knowledge base. This is our basically our database, right? The entire knowledge, and this is the other port on my laptop. So this is the one which I'm going to use for my RAG, and the other port that I'm using 7860 is for my Docker. You could put anything, okay? And then you have your command. Okay, so basically it's saying this is the executable, run this, and these are the arguments. So we're saying this is the script, RAG main. In this script, look for this variable and load this. This starts load this. This is the host, right? So in our testing, we actually used 127 point this, and I mentioned about use 0.0 point, right? So that's what we're using, and the port is this, which is what we passed over here. Okay, same stuff. Wow, what did I do? Okay, fair. We've got that, right? So the two instruction files. So this is what you create first, prepare these two files, and after that, where are these files saved? I've just shown you the structure, okay, in these two separate folders, right? So I will share this link and you can actually have a look at this. Afterwards, you create the Docker Compose. Okay, so again, pretty simple actually. So we have services, the two services that we are going to have, okay, which is one is the RAG API and the Gradio API. In this, we are saying build, okay, this is going to build the image. Context, this is a folder. In this, we have the Docker file is this, and we are going to create a container with this name. This is the port, okay, this is the host port which is on my laptop, and this is the port on the container port, okay, so the container port. And here we're using a network, RAGnet, which is giving this name, okay, you can put whatever name. So the container on the same containers on the same network can talk using the service name, okay. So the service name is over here for the RAG thing. We've done the build. We've got the folder. This is the Docker file, which is what we saw here. This is the name of the container. This is the host port, container port. The name of the network is this, and the environment. This is the URL. Okay, we can just give whatever name. We just given this variable. HTTP RAG, which is the service, and the port. This port is what your container port. The next service is the Gradio UI. Again, same thing. Build. This is the folder, which is what we saw. The Docker file, container name, port. Depends on, okay, depends on this service. So Gradio waits for the RAG API container to run first, right? And this is the network. Okay, so you got your service part and all of these two services. Then you have your network, which is what we're using over here, RAGnet. Okay, so this is network over here, and the driver. This is a default driver, which is used by in Docker. Okay, so Docker file builds image that contains everything that your app needs, and the container is where it actually runs. So when we run this command, Docker compose, okay, up, compose up dash dash build actually builds the image, and up actually runs this. So I have already done that. This is my terminal. I've done Docker compose. I don't have a build because I've already done that. It takes some time depending on the how big your LLM and whatever you're loading, and depending on the speed of your laptop and all of that. It took me like 30 plus minutes, 30-40 minutes actually. It's a 4 GB RAM, and whenever you make some changes here there, it'll not take so much time, but incrementally it'll do it fast because everything is there in the cache. So in this, the scripts are there in my GitHub. You can actually look at it. The scripts are slightly different. Okay. So what are the changes? I'll just tell you the changes. So in our, we are not doing any testing. This is actually for production. Okay. So we are directly running Uvicorn from Docker. So we're not going to be running. So there is no if name in both of these, right? It's going to get loaded from here, and in the link for Gradio is going to change. It's not going to be the Ngrok link, but this particular link, HTTP host. The I'll just show you that, which is over here, localhost 7860. This is what, okay. So because I've already done, the two images were created over here, which is one is the Gradio, the other one is this. You can actually see that. And then the containers that were created. Okay, this is the folder. In this, there are these two containers. When I hit, which is, running the container, we've got this, and everything in the command, okay, starts getting printed. Okay, so all of this got printed. So I had loaded. So one of the things is I preloaded, okay, uh, some of the things so that I can use my Gradio UI interface. So preloading some of these things. So otherwise there is a cold start. So I'm just making sure. Yeah, so let me just show you that. I've just opened up. Now this is the actual script that you will see in my GitHub. Okay. So we are using, so you just make sure you delete all your pip install and everything from here, right? Because that is there in our requirements file. So this is an additional thing that is coming, context lib, as asynchronous context manager. Why are we using this? Is for the initial cold start. So the other thing is we are also doing pre-indexing over here, which is typically in the real world, it is a separate thing, but this is just that, so we see how the entire database is getting loaded, right? So we used a small database. So whenever you run the database, the vector database is always getting loaded. So that is something that you have to take into account. So everything else is same, slight changes here and there, saying use the CPU. Okay, there's not much, pretty simple. Okay, this is what I wanted you to look at. Okay, again, another thing is in the Docker, in Ubuntu, print is not going to work. So you should actually use logging.info. Okay, so when you use logging, you will actually see all the status and everything getting printed over there. Okay, typically for your debugging. So what did I want to show? Okay, lifespan. Okay, so this is really important. This is for the initial, 5-minute or cold start. So we are actually using this lifespan. This is for initialization. Okay, so you have this @async context manager, async def lifespan. Okay, which is what we passed earlier. So all the preloading. So this is a global variable. So preloading happens, which is your LLM, your vector database, and you also keep your what is that? The search. Okay, the search object on your vector database. Okay, so all this is getting preloaded. Okay, so phase 2, this is what we actually saw over here, phase 2. Okay, once all of this is done till about here, that is when I actually ran my UI interface. Okay, then I'll come to that. Where were we? Right, so this is the extra part, a little bit of adjustment. So this is the preloading that we have to do, and if you notice, there is no if main. Uh, Okay, so my bad. Yeah, so okay, I think I'm looking at the. I'm not looking at. Okay, this script is being made for. Okay, it is. This is. I've tried to make a neutral script. Coming back to this here. So this, if I run this in Ngrok, this is going to work. But when you run it in Docker, this is not going to work. Okay. Uh, so all the loading happens over there. This is just not going to touch. This is a neutral script for Ngrok as well as for Docker. Right. So none of this. So none of this testing. So in production, we are not going to do testing. So none of this is actually going to run. Else, okay. So all the preloading. So all of this. So Uvicorn is actually loaded from here through Docker. Okay. It will look for app in the rag main file. Okay. .py file. That is how it is being saved in my GitHub. This is in collab right now. Right. So this does all the preloading. Oh, where was that? Okay, so this is important, the initialization, and just remember this part. Okay, so this guarantees preloading of the API before it is live. So we are using this context lib. Once we have, once it comes to this, it's printed out. Okay, then I use my host 786, paste that over here. I'll get the same interface. Again, run this thing. You will get the same thing, output in Docker. This actually talks to this. That is why you're seeing some of this run out over here. Okay. Okay, so the first one was for the query index. The other one was for the branch based on the pin code. That is what you actually saw. Okay, so the pin code output got printed over here. 500034. Yeah, so basically that I think we are good. Right, I will share. Hopefully, pretty soon I'll upload all of this in YouTube, and I will get. Yeah, my GitHub is already on. I will upload, put certain things in the description as well. So cool. We've looked at containerized RAG AI agent. Super awesome. Okay, I'm pretty excited about this journey that I've had. I hope you get to learn something from this, and I hope the videos are useful. I think about 3 or 4 parts, right? So all the various things that we have actually used, uh, right? So our containerized RAG AI agent for URA bank, right? So grounded reality and truth, utilizing the bank's knowledge base to eliminate all hallucinations, retrieve the, get the context, the LLM, and all of that. So we've used a whole bunch of stuff. We've done the development, testing, and we've also done it in the production environment. So there's a whole lot for some of you to learn, right? My name is Jerry Abraham. I really enjoyed sharing my work. I hope the videos and the scripts and everything is useful and you get to test and do some of these things, right? Also, don't forget the Swagger UI, testing the endpoints over there. It's pretty nice. And there are useful videos on creating the Ngrok account and all of that. It's pretty simple because there's not much. That any which ways was not really the scope of these videos. But I thoroughly enjoyed sharing my learnings. I hope this was interesting, exciting, and hopefully a good learning experience and a journey into this world of AI agents. And my next step is to get into agentic AI. Yeah. So till then, I'll see you. Signing off. Cheers. Bye bye.